Hello students, our today's concept for JavaScript is about arrays. Now we are familiar with the definition of arrays in traditional programming languages. We say that array is a collection of homogeneous elements. So what do we mean by the term homogeneous? It would be that all the elements in the array have the same data type there. If you declare array int a, you say all the elements that belong to that array are of type integer. But when it comes to JavaScript, we can have different data types that can be stored together. So before we understand those characteristics, let's first understand what are the ways in which we will be able to create our arrays. So you can have a look on the slide here. There are basically four different ways in which we will be able to create an array. So as you can see here, again the new keyword is there. We will be able to create an array just like we would create objects in JavaScript with the help of the new keyword. Here also we will be able to create our array. So you can see the first point here. We write var, which indicates that it is, again we are treating it as a variable. Then my list, my underscore list is the array name. So one important thing to remember is whenever we declare arrays, we need not make use of the blank spaces, but then you can make use of underscores to replace your blank spaces. Then my list here is the array name. Now, one first method in which you can create the array is with the help of the new keyword. We have used new array. Now, this keyword array is important here. The keyword new and array indicate that we are trying to create or we are trying to make my list as an array. Then you can make use of the round brackets, and within the round brackets you can give the elements of the array which are separated by commas. Now if you observe this particular array, you can see that we have two different types of primitive data types that are used here. 1 and 2 are basically numbers. 3 and 4, since it is written in double quotes, they will be treated as strings. So in JavaScript, it is not mandatory that your array elements should be of the same data type. The elements that are present in the array can have different data types, but still belong to the same array. So this is one method of creating the array by making use of the new keyword or the new operator. Next method, you can see here again, we write in a similar fashion, that is var my list is equal to new array, but we are just giving the size here. We are not specifying any elements. We are not initializing the elements here. So this is one way wherein you just specify the size of the array. After this, you can go on initializing the items one by one. The third method, again, we write variable my list, but we will not make use of the array keyword. We are not going to make use of new, or we are not going to make use of the array keyword. But directly this time, since we are not making use of new or we are not making use of the array keyword, we will make use of these square brackets. If you see in the first instance or even in the second instance, when we have used new array, that is the new operator followed by this array object, we are making use of this round brackets, and within that we are specifying the array elements or the array size. When you want to directly make use of the square brackets itself is an indication that you need not use this new and the array keywords, but it is an array. So again, this is one possible way in which you can create the array in JavaScript. The next method, which is somewhat related to your second method, you can see that I have written variable my list, but just square brackets. There is no new keyword, there is no array keyword, and there is no size also specified. The elements are also not initialized, but only the empty square brackets are given. So this indicates that again my list is an array type. Then the next part is we need to initialize the array elements. So how are we going to do it? We'll make use of our array name. Within the square brackets, we need to specify the index value. And for the index value, you can go on initializing with respective array elements. So this is the fourth method in which you can create array in JavaScript. So it's up to the user or up to the programmer which method the which method he or she can use for creation of arrays in JavaScript. Now, after this, let's understand the characteristics. One important characteristics of array objects are they can be of different data types. You need not stick to your traditional programming languages wherein you want the array elements to be of similar or a same data type. In JavaScript, arrays can have different data types but still belong to the same array. Another thing is we will be able to again what we can able to increase or decrease the size of an array element, and that is why in JavaScript it is said that array are dynamic in nature. So what is the meaning of this? The length property of an array can be used to increase or decrease the size of the array. So length is an important property for the array. Now my list is an array name, and assume that this particular mylist array had been initialized to store around 100 elements. We have just initialized it with the help of size, but now I want to increase its size. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to make use of the array name followed by the dot operator followed by the length keyword is equal to initialize it with the new size. Then likewise, you can also decrease. If you do not like just we assume that we have 100 elements, but you want to decrease the size. So again, you can make use of array name dot operator length is equal to specify the new size. Then just like other programming languages, the initial index or the lowest index for the array will also begin with 0 and goes up to n minus 1. After this, we have some of the important array methods. So first one is the join method. So this again, the array methods is an important question. It can be asked for, say, explain any one method for 2 marks or even for 5 marks or 10 marks. So which are the different methods? Let's have a look. The first one is the join method. So as the name indicates, the join method converts all of the elements of the array to strings and catenates, that is joins them into a single string. So if no parameter is provided to join, the values are separated by commas. So what is the meaning of this? Join method will help us to convert all of the array elements to strings. But then the important thing here to understand is in the array, the elements are usually separated by commas. Comma is the default separator. The join method provides you with the option of how you want to separate these elements. By default, it is separated by a comma. So the join method is giving you an option. If you do not want the comma, you can also make use of any other separator symbol. Like here you can see in the example specified here, the array declared is names, and we have followed this way, new array and then square brackets I have used. So you can skip this new array and directly make use of even the square bracket. So these 4 names make up the array and they are separated by comma. Now what I am going to do is I want to separate them with the help of this colon, or I want to make use of this colon as a separator instead of this comma. So what I'm going to do, I'm creating a new array here, names list, and then I'm just saying names dot join. So names array contain all these elements. So I'm saying names dot join, that is join these array elements with the help of this particular colon. So the output will be displayed somewhat like this. Let's have a look at the example. Now one HTML file here which includes the code for JavaScript as well. So one heading tag, then in the body section we make use of the script tag, and within this we shall be writing the script. So here you can see that I've declared 2 arrays. Okay, so one array is, the array name is fruits, another array name is veggie. Now this particular array called fruits has 4 elements. These are the 4 elements, and the second array has just 2 elements. Now let's look at the first method, that is join. So I'll just uncomment this. So since we want to display it, or we are just going to display it on the browser here, so I've again made use of document.write. I want to what I want to do is, instead of these commas, I want to replace it with an asterisk. So what should I do? First, I need to write the array name, dot operator, followed by the method name, that is join. And in double quotes, you can specify which particular symbol you want to use in the array to separate the elements. So I have made use of an star or an asterisk. Close the bracket, give a comma, and just the BR tag for next line. Let's save this and look at the output. Now you can see here the array elements here are separated by an asterisk, and they are the usual way, that is they are separated by commas, that is being replaced by this asterisk. So the join method will help you to do this. Next one, the next method, let us have a look at. The next method we have is a reverse. So as the name indicates, this is just going to reverse the order of the array. So again, the same example here, the array name contains these 4 names. What I have done here is I have created a new array, and in the new array I am storing the reversed array. The way of using this is up to you. If you want, you can directly write this in document.write and say names.reverse, or store the result in a new array. So what is going to be the reverse order of this? It will start from the last name and come up till the first name here. Let's have a look at the example. So let me comment the first one. We'll apply the reverse method for the same array, that is fruits. So the order here has to be reversed. Now when it displays, it should display us in this order, that mango, apple, orange and banana. Let's go back and refresh this. So you can see the order has been reversed. The third method that we have is sort. So it will help you to sort your array alphabetically. So if it is if it is numbers, then you can sort the array in ascending or even descending order. So we will stick just to alphabets here, wherein we are able to sort it alphabetically. The way to use this is again similar. Make use of the array name, dot operator, and the sort method. So let's have a look at the output for this. So at line number 12, you can see here, I have written fruits.sort. So now technically, first, since it is sorting in ascending order, the first fruit should be apple, followed by banana, and then followed by mango and orange. So the array elements are now in sorted order in the alphabetical way. Next method again we have is concat. Now you should not be confused between the two methods, that is join and concat. The way we look at just the grammatical way would be join also means trying to concatenate two arrays, but we know that join method will help us to display our array with different separators. Instead of the default way, that is comma, it will help us to make use of different symbols. Now the concat method will help us to join two or more arrays. Okay, so for this, if you want to concatenate, you will require more than one array. So you can see here one array which contains the first names. Then what I have done is taken another array. Okay, and in that I'm making use of the first array name. With that I want to concatenate. What I want to concatenate? I want to concatenate directly. I have given the last names here. So another way would be, you take two separate arrays. You can take two separate arrays and you can give the first array name dot concat followed by, in the bracket, the second array name. Or instead of giving the second array name, you can follow this method wherein you directly pass the elements. So let's have a look at the second way here in the example. So we know that we have taken two arrays here, fruits and veggie. Now what I will do is I'll comment this. We'll have a look here at line number 13. So here at line number 13, you can see that to concatenate, what is the syntax? Give your first array name. The first array name is fruits dot concat, and in the bracket you can pass your second array. The second array is this, which contains the elements carrots and lettuce. So this is one way, or instead of writing here veggie, I can directly pass even carrots, carrots comma lettuce. So let's have a look at the output of this. So now this is the first array, and last two elements are the from the second array. Next method we have is the slice method. So this slice method returns the selected elements in an array as new array object. Now the important thing to understand is the slice method takes two parameters. It will take two numeric values. From where do you want to begin the slicing? From which index value? So you need to specify the start index and the end index. But remember that the end index will not be included. So it will work with 1 n minus 1. That is, if your end index is 3, it will work only up till 2. So this particular array fruits contains these elements. So when I have said fruits dot slice and 1 comma 3 is given, so how is it going to work? It will start from the index 1, which is orange, and will work only up till n minus 1, that is will work only up till 2. So this is the second element. Which is the third element here? The third element is apple. But this third element will not be included. So 1 comma 3 will give you the output only for 1 comma 2. Only first and second element will be included. Let's have a look at the example again. Now, I am trying to slice the first array, that is fruits, and the index value that I have specified is 0 comma 3. So the 0th index we have banana, first index orange, and the second index apple. So only these three elements are going to be displayed. The last element at index 3 is mango, which will not be included in the output. So you can see here we are getting the correct output. Now after this we have two very different methods, that is shift and unshift. So what is the shift method responsible for? It removes the first item of the array, the first item which is starting right from the starting index from 0, that element is going to be removed. So once this element is removed, it means the length of the array is altered or changed. The previous length was 4. If this, the previous length was 3, which contains 4 elements. So if this particular element is removed, now it will have only 3 items left. So what is it going to return? It will return the element that has been removed. So it will return banana. Unshift, the second method, works exactly like opposite of the first one. So this adds a new item to the beginning of the array. But what does it return? It does not return the array, but it returns the new length. So again, this method is also changing the length of the array. So our array fruits has these many elements. If we try to add two new elements, so these two elements will be added at the beginning of the array. So this unshift method, now the basically our array is going to be updated like this, but the unshift method is just going to return the numeric value, the new length of the array. Let's have a look at the example. So you can see here, for the first array itself, I have implemented the shift fruits dot shift, which means it will remove banana. So let me just comment unshift here. Let's see the first output. So the shift method is returning the item that has been removed. Now, if you want to make use of the unshift operator, the unshift operator will help us to add two new elements. So I'm trying to add these two elements to the beginning of the array, that is before banana. So after adding these two elements, what is going to be the length? We already had four elements, we are adding two more, so the length should be 6. So it returns the numeric value. Next, two methods, pop and push. So the pop method helps to remove the last element of the array, which is the exact opposite of the shift method. The shift method helps us to remove the array element from the beginning. The pop method helps to remove the array element from the end. So mango will be removed. This also alters the length of the array and returns the element that has been removed. Next, the push method helps us to add new elements to the array from the end. From the end, we will be able to add. Whereas in the unshift method, we were trying to add the elements from the beginning of the array. So here we will be able to add from the end, that is after mango. So that is why this method push will also change the length of the array and it will return again the numeric value. Let's have a look here at the example. So the pop method now should remove the element mango. So we can see here the element has been removed. Now I'm just trying to add one element, lemon. We already have these four elements. So another element to be added. After unshift, it should give me 5. So we have totally 5 elements in the array. So these are the different array methods. Now after these array methods, the next concept that we have is the functions. How can we make use of functions in JavaScript? So it is very much similar to the previous programming languages that you have studied. So the JavaScript function is defined with the function keyword. We need to make use of the function keyword here. And this function keyword followed by brackets or parentheses. Now how can you give the function name? The function names can include letters, digits, underscores and dollar signs, just like your variables. The parenthesis, what will the parenthesis have? The parenthesis will have the parameters or the arguments which are separated by commas. Then the actual code that is to be executed is given within the opening curly bracket and the closing curly bracket, which contributes to the body of the function. Let's have a look at the structure. So you can see here, we need to make use of the keyword function followed by the function name. Within the round brackets, you will be specifying the different parameters separated by commas. If there are no parameters, still we need to make use of these brackets to indicate that it is a function. The opening curly bracket and the ending curly bracket will enclose the actual code to be executed. Your functions can also have return types or it can have return statements. So the return statement will usually indicate that the execution of the function is over. Let's have a look at the example for this with the help of one journal program. So we shall be doing the 6th journal program, which says write a JavaScript code to compute the sum of n natural numbers. So the program is very simple. We just need to ask the user for the value of n. Okay. So what is the value of n going to do here? Based on what the user gives the input, we are just going to calculate the sum up till that number. So if the user has entered the digit as 4, we need to calculate the sum up till the digit 4. So we know the logic. We just have to make use of a loop, and with each iteration of the loop, we need to add the 2 digits, the succeeding 2 digits, and store the result. So let's see how this can be done in JavaScript. Now, in the program, we again remember that we save it as HTML. We are not making use of any external JavaScript code, but we are embedding the JavaScript code within our HTML page itself. So in the H section, the title is given. Coming to the body section, one H2 tag here. Then in the script tag is our important part, that is the JavaScript code. So how are we going to accept input from the user? One way is to make use of again HTML form, create a form and have a text box there and then fetch the value from that. Or another way would be we can make use of the prompt dialog window that we have studied in the last session. The prompt dialog window comes up with a text box or default text box which also takes the parameter, the message, and in that we can say ask the user to enter the number. So whatever number is entered, that will be stored in the variable num. Then here I have declared a function. The function is sum of natural. Okay, this is the function name. This is the function name. Now this is the basically you can say that this will be like the function. This is like a function prototype here. Whereas you usually would write in C programming like int follow then you have the function name bracket, the return type again int comma int. But here what we will do is we will write the function name. Now what is this variable result or res? Res is a return type here. We will make use of a return statement in the function and whatever is going to be the sum that will be returned and stored in the variable res. Now you can also have a look at the function parameters. It is taking a single parameter, that is num, whatever the user has entered. Then I have made use of again an alert statement. What is this alert statement? It is basically again a dialog window. So whatever the result is computed, that will again be displayed in the form of a pop-up with the help of this alert dialog window. So in double quotes, we need to write the string, the sum of n natural numbers. For that, I have appended the result. So the result comes from this particular function return type. Now coming to this main block, you can see here at line number 14, the keyword function is used, followed by the function name. The function name is sum of natural, followed by the parentheses which include the parameter. Now within the function, whatever variables are declared, they will have a local scope and those variables you cannot access it outside. So one variable called I for the iteration, one variable called as sum. So sum is initialized to 0. Then we have made use of a for loop and the iteration will start from the first digit from 1 and will go up till which will go up to less than or equal to num. So if the user say that the user has asked us to calculate the sum of first 4 natural numbers. So the value of num is 4. The value of num is 4. So it will run up till I less than or equal to 4. And with each iteration we need to increment. So how this works? When I is equal to 1 for the first time, so I is equal to 1, it checks for I less than or equal to 4. The condition is true. So if it is true, we go inside the loop and we calculate the sum. So here, how is the sum calculated? So sum is now going to be equal to the value, this sum is initialized to 0. So it is going to be 0 plus the value of I. The value of I is 1. So now the value of sum is equal to 1. So like this, the loop goes on incrementing until we reach a condition where 4 less than or equal to 4 becomes false. And at that point, the loop stops executing. Then the return statement here is having the actual result, that is the sum of first 4 natural numbers. The first 3 natural numbers here. So whatever is the output is going to be returned to this function call here. And here in the result, it is going to be stored. Now another way to print it on the browser here we know, that is document.write. So here also we will say the sum of natural numbers is, and we will print the result. So this is the simple program. Now let's have a look at the output. So you can see we have got a prompt dialog box along with the input. Let me give the number as 4 and say OK. So you can see here the sum of n natural numbers is 10. So how are we getting this? We are getting it with the help of this code at line number 13, that is the alert dialog window, which we have studied in the last session, which comes up with only one default OK button. Now, since we have also printed it on the browser with document.write, you can also see the output that is displayed on the browser. So the sum of n natural numbers is 10.